Hello and welcome to the Sweaty the Farmer and the Game Design, where we cover the data of the soybean to make our own predicting engine universe with blackjacks and hookers, of course. This is episode number 87, Astrology of Data Mining. I am the London Gamer, the Sweaty.
And I am Lucho the Farmer. Thanks for joining us on this episode. This week we peek at the future and spoil our own content.
Do we spoil our own content, man? We shouldn't.
Yes, we do.
Alright, but before all that juicy stuff that we're gonna bring you here about data mining, our disclaimer: the discussion here is based on our opinions and our own in-game experience. Everything we say here, do, comment, blab, put our opinions on, is based on our human experience and our years and years of existence. So, if you like it or don't like it, or if you agree or don't agree with you, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments. And while you all there, don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell, leave us a like, share with everybody, and do anything social that your platform lets you. And that's the best way that you can give us some love for this show, right?
Please.
Say that you like it. So, we start with our deep dive. Today on our deep dive, we're going to talk about data mining.
We are.
And is it good, bad, not bad, maybe, for modern gaming? It doesn't, like, I will clarify that it doesn't happen in all the games of all times, but
it happens on the big games.
It happens on the big games. So yeah. Is there a place for data mining in modern games? So do you think it's good, bad, or what? What is your position about data mining? Do you like it? You don't like it? Just like a
in general?
Yeah, in general.
I mean, I prefer to discover things on my own.
Yeah.
But I think we cannot avoid data mining.
So you think that we can no longer avoid data mining in video games?
No.
It is a demon that we should live with.
It is a child of the internet.
It is a child of the internet. All right, yeah.
And of games moving from like physical sales to digital.
Yeah, you're right. In all this like live patching and everything else.
It just sounds like I'm repeating myself, but it's kind of just a product of the world that we live in. So can we avoid it? I don't think so. Do I mind it? My personal opinion is, if I don't want to get spoiled, I just don't. And that's
Alright,
it.
yeah.
But and I do prefer not to. Like I prefer to discover many things on my own.
Yeah.
But depending on the game and the reason why I'm playing the game, it may not affect my experience that much.
Fair enough. For me, I don't like it. And I know that is unavoidable. But I actually do not like data mining. I think it makes discovery in a lot of games kind of not rewarded, and it kind of gives a lot of advantage of people who are very aware of data mining. So kind of forces you to engage with the data mining thing and spoil yourself for advantages and that sort of stuff.
But I disagree with that. With
what?
That you have to because other people do it.
Well, it depends on the kind of gamer, right? You're right on that sort of stuff. Depends on the kind of gamer that you are. If you want to be like...
No, it not only depends on the kind of game, it depends on the approach that you're taking to a game.
Yeah.
Because I know what you're going to say. If it is a competitive game, sure, but you may not be approaching that specific game that way.
Yes, you're right.
So I do disagree with that. Like, if you really care, you don't have to.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, fair. Okay. But Yeah, it's a thing that we've been living for a long time by now, since data mining become like a thing that they do.
No, since the internet was a thing.
Yeah, for a long time.
Like people may not remember, but even when games were not sell like through on the digital mediums, like people will still data mine this and like put information on the early days of the internet, like for secrets and stuff like that.
Yeah, for things on the code. Yeah, you're right. You remind me of an old DOS story, but a Doom lost level, something like that. Yeah.
Like things like the cow level in Diablo and like in Diablo 2 or stuff like that. A lot of those things were data mine, not in the sense that data mine exists nowadays, but in a similar fashion. This was
that's how
information that was shared on like early internet forums and chat, things like that. So it has happened for longer than people may think about it.
Yeah.
But I still believe that if you care about your experience, you can avoid it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So what does make data mining easy in this day and was so prevalent? One of the reasons is the use of public test realms or beta servers or PTR as are most commonly known, right? So what is a public test realm or a beta server?
It's basically a place where developers give limited access, like I wouldn't call it early access, but like to unfinished portions of the games.
Yeah.
So that like a larger amount of people can test stuff.
Yeah.
And the main reason is to find bugs and sometimes calibrate content depending on the type of game or that is important. Balancing stuff or calibrating stuff.
These PTRs and beta test servers can be closed, open, and
they exist. They exist on many forums at the same time on different places.
Yeah.
They can be closed, they can be limited. At some point, a lot of them they become just open testing grounds.
Yeah.
But they do exist. It's just
and big part of the data mining happens there because there's a lot of data and preview not hidden enough, or like vulnerable systems that can be like data mined for information about future things in the game, on side lores and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of unavoidable just by the nature that software development works. Like you can, like especially for games as live services.
Yeah.
If the game wants to have any type of space for content releases,
correct,
the developers just as a piece of software, they have to be ahead of what they need to do. So it is kind of unavoidable that even if you want to just test a little part of the game, it will still have strings attached to parts that you don't want people to see.
Yeah.
Just because that's how software works.
Yeah.
And those are the little strings that data miners exploit. And
And in these days where everything is live and you can patch everything on hot, there is a lot of practice that leave residues inside the games that are unintended or not for the player that
unintended or not, it's unavoidable. Like that's kind of my point. That's just how software development works. Just you cannot have a whole piece of software completely boxed in different places.
Correct. Everything is interconnected in some way, shape, or form.
and those they try to minimize it as much as they can, or most developers do, but.
Yeah. So when you hear I'm doing a beta test or a public test realm or a PTR or an alpha test or something like that, that's what we're referring to, like a uncompleted piece of the game or pieces for testing on the general public. You could be like limited or non-limited or invitation only or something like that. And most of the time, the developers tell you that should not be taken as the end product, which generally you expect not to be taken as the end product.
But most of the time is not, because again, the purpose of these things is to debug the product and just balance the whole thing, like the whole experience. Because you as a developer, like you may think that something is well paced or well balanced or something,
but maybe
you
not.
But you don't know how people at the end of the day are going to use the piece of software.
Correct. Why do games need public testing? Why do some games? Because I will say that not all games do public testing. But why do some games need public testing? Like, definitely. It's not a requirement. To start with, it's not a requirement. So if you want to go gold, you're making a game, you don't have to have a public test.
You don't have to, but if your project is large enough, you probably want
Yes.
It just no matter how big the company that is making the game is, you cannot hire that many testers.
That is true. So you have
just like most video game developers and studios, and for that matter, most like software developers have internal testing.
Correct.
Just people testing and doing quality assurance and doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, generally how it works is like you have a quality assurance team, and it's not an infinite team. It's like it's a department of around 100 to 200 persons.
It doesn't matter. You will never have enough people.
You will never have enough people or time to test.
Is it one person, 100 person, 1,000? It's just not enough. You will never if the scope of your game is big enough, you will never have enough time or people to test everything in your game, right? Like my point here was like some of the adventure games and sports games and some of the games with the scope smaller, it doesn't get public testing, but it does get a lot of internal testing for longer periods of time. But in an adventure game, you have a more controllable environment and things like the things are very poignant, and it is not as complex as an open world or something similar to that. So that's why some of those games don't need. But a lot of those still have like invitational testing that they cannot disclose.
Right. Yes, but generally for that is a preview of the product, not proper
necessarily
alpha testing.
Some of them have tests.
So some of them have a small like public testing, probably under NDAs, so under non-disclosure agreements. So you cannot say anything about it. But you still have things like God of War and like big story games like Horizon Zero Dawn and that sort of stuff, doing all their testing internally. Most of all because it makes sense, because if you want to keep under wraps a big story game because what you're selling is the story, you make sure you do everything in your power to protect that. And public testing is a very risky thing to do when you are protecting that's the product that you're selling.
I mean, it also depends on the type of game, because you can test that a game like God of War is working technically and just kind of put a room where you test that things work and let people access the gameplay, for example. Without revealing any of the story.
But they generally don't do it public, like don't do it at a bigger scale as the other games does.
Because they don't have to. They don't have to do it.
So and the other ones that need it, they're generally big open world games with a lot of interlocking systems that they don't have enough manpower. So for them, it's more financially viable to put it into the public testing because you have a lot more eyes and eyeballs and people testing all the parts of your interconnected world. And that way it's easier to catch bugs because, again, you will never have enough people or enough time to test this kind of it with big scopes.
not only Xcode but live service more than anything.
Yeah. Lightsabers.
It's just that the speed at which you have to produce content for a live service game means that you don't have enough time to properly test internally. So it's like you reuse the testing time, but just throw in people. But instead of paying the people, you just have free tests.
Yeah. Which sounds pretty cool. Of course, you have to give the community of your game that is testing incentives for them to test the game and make proper debugging. And on top of that, you get a lot of like raw data from all those people just stressing your game out. That's the other thing, right?
Yeah, but it's definitely not for all the games, but most live services do it just because.
Yeah, we're talking about like MMOs, big live service, like announcement, big games. So anything that has MMO live service, probably doing a big beta test.
Anything that is live service, do it at some degree.
Yeah.
Just because they don't have time to do any other thing.
Yeah. And again, I think the big necessity for this is because especially with live service games, like you build this game with interconnected systems, but there is a lot of scenarios that you don't have the time to test on, especially if your game is either big or like it auto generates content like random dungeons or something like that. So you will have a lot of corner cases that you don't have the time to internally test. So it's better to throw players at it and see what happens when you stress the systems. That's the mainly reason why they do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not even only for MMOs. A lot of competitive games do it. Does and LoL have
League of Legends have internal private. Yeah, you're right. A lot of competitive testing.
Yeah.
A lot of competitive games does have PTRs for balance of new heroes, but I feel like it's the same reason.
It is. I'm not saying it's not that. Yeah, because these are live services.
Exactly.
It's not because of the type of game. It's because it's because of the monetization that they use.
Yeah. So
this doesn't have to do with what type of game it is, which is kind of what you implied.
Yeah.
Just because it falls into a live service category of.
Correct. So
like model of operation.
Yeah, a lot of these competitive games have this environment of testing because of balance reasons, and again because of everything interacting with everything.
I mean, it's just because they're live services. And at the speed that they have to produce stuff, it makes sense.
Yeah. How much money do you think they're saving nowadays that you can do actual open public testing?
Oh, a lot of money.
Right? Right. A lot of money in QA departments.
Not only in QA, but with all the data that they gather, they probably save a lot of development time. Instead of like doing multiple, like produce something, test it,
iterate
once, and then iterate over that. Like, instead of doing that, they can do bigger batches, let everything
bigger cycles,
gather a ton of data,
and
do changes over that. That probably saves development time, which it's probably more expensive than just the QC of the company.
Yeah. Of course, there's the other problem of that some public tests. There's been bad practices in this kind of thing where they do public testing and they end up not having enough time to actually fix everything that was broken in the public testing, and they just send it as it is, or they don't catch everything, or when they do the iteration they generate new problems and they don't give them enough time to do enough iteration for it.
Many of those things that you're saying are unavoidable.
What do you say? Why do you say that?
Because that's just what software development is.
Okay. I know what you mean, but yeah, you're always gonna have bugs. That's true.
No. There's also like sometimes, more often than not.
Yeah.
like a bug arises because some unforeseen interaction is not out of malice.
Yeah, correct.
And people may not be aware that there are many interactions, especially big pieces of software like games that have millions of lines of code across different languages and stuff.
Yeah, correct.
There are many interactions that can trigger a bug.
Yeah.
And okay, you go out and test it out, and you may catch some interactions that trigger bugs. But there are some others that may not be catched in testing, that will only appear when hundreds of thousands of people are actually playing your game.
And this happens all the time, even with live games that been functioning for a long time, when you have like unintended interactions between new content being uploaded, and even if the new content is tested, like it's still
the worst part that it happens with any type of software.
Yeah.
Like a company will produce as a piece of software, and then they will get a client. Okay, my software is not working because of this, and then you realize, this is kind of an edge case that no one ever considered was going to happen. No one tested it because this was not intended to be used like that.
Yeah. But
somebody never occurred. Yeah. But somebody did.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So
that happens all the time for software.
I feel
and just to be clear, I'm not saying that like a certain level of polish shouldn't be expected. It should.
Yes.
But I'm also kind of shit happens. Shouldn't. But...
And I feel like games. I'm gonna say something. I feel like I'm gonna say something controversial, but I feel like games have been better for having public testing sometimes. When the developer actually do their due diligence and fix things and take the feedback and analyze data, it works.
I give all developers the benefit of the doubt that they do it.
Yeah. So
but it's like
the thing is, like, recently we had a trend for recently when these development companies makes open betas and public testing, and they actually don't do the due diligence of fixing a lot of stuff, and they use it as just a promotional platform. So, and like Anthem comes in mind, for example. And
but Anthem, I don't think it was malice of the developer.
Yeah,
it was just that they were forced to push a product that was flawed from the beginning.
Yeah, it's true.
That's for example an example of a bigger problem. It's not with the people developing the thing. It's just they probably did testing, or they did do testing. They knew of the problems. They tried to fix as many as they could, but there's also
everyone. Yeah. So
it's a product that has to come at some date, and there are hard time limits for stuff.
Yeah. So beware of developers that put test builds or alpha builds very close to release date, and be suspicious if the game is in a very bad state with that kind of round of testing, because you know that they're not going to have enough time to do enough. So yeah. And right now, is it private testing not enough in 2021 when you're doing these games? I think the answer overall is no, because games have become more and more complex.
Yes and no. Again, it is. Yeah. It probably depends on
of course,
the
you're doing
like
a
the
small,
model of your game.
Yeah, if you're doing a small indie game, well, you're not gonna need that much people for testing. You can do a closed run private testing, fair enough, like good enough. But for like AAA spectacle games, and that's very ambitious game with a lot of interconnected system and different like RPG system and that sort of stuff, I think you always need to have a big pull testing to stress your game out, especially with servers and all these different things and stuff and different systems and
more than different systems. A lot of these things come from the fact that live services are the new standard.
Yeah.
More than the game itself being complex in itself. It's more about live services is the to-go model nowadays.
Yeah, so I will say generally not in the big AAA industry, and in the other cases, depending on how big and ambitious your game is, you probably won't need it. You probably be good enough with a good QA system.
It also depends on the size of your team, because maybe you can put it out, but you just don't have the muscle to process the data you get.
I remember I don't know if
then it's completely useless.
Sorry, go ahead. What?
If you don't have the muscle to process the data you get, then why do it? Why bother?
Yeah, I remember there used to be some testing companies that you will send your stuff and will get tested back in the day. I don't know if they still exist in the software world.
Yeah, but that's probably expensive.
To pay all the to pay all the testing. Yeah, you're right.
It's a very niche market, so it's probably a very premium product.
Yeah, you're probably right. So after all this testing talk, what is exactly data mining in games? What is exactly what the data miners do? They go into a mine with a computer and they mine a rock, hacking it. That's probably what you imagine.
They usually just try to access as much as possible of the raw code for the game, or the libraries that save information for because one thing is the code, another thing is all the data that the game uses.
Yeah.
So people try to basically, all these things are just stored as text files in your computer. Yeah. That's all they really are.
Yes. Text files, model files, and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Even model files, at the end of the day, they're just text files.
Yeah.
They're just files with numbers or
correct
hexadecimal codes, and that's it.
Yeah.
So what people do is that they program text crawler, which are just little programs, little applications that just go through folders, go to every document, make it a text document, and crawl to a document, and they just look for keywords.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the easier approach. It's not the only one. It's one of the easier.
Correct.
So you just look for keywords like quest or NPC names or things of that nature.
Text in quotes or text bracket text and that sort of stuff. Or directories of this is pointing to this asset and that's
or certain types of extensions that could be pointing out to cutscenes or dialogue or sound, and even just with the names, people can make guesses of stuff.
yeah, because generally the code that you get from a PTR texting realm is encrypted, right? You cannot affect it, and it's encrypted behind a encryption key, so you don't mess with it when you are testing the product. But generally the rest of the assets are not. So everything that encrypted code calls out is a normal model file or a normal text file with dialogue or a normal audio file. With calls and that sort of stuff. So
that's one of the easier approach, but there are many more.
Sometimes people to decrypt the code. Sometimes they have detector stuff.
I mean, they keep decrypting those codes. Decoding those things is not that hard. It just requires time most of the.
Correct. Yeah, time.
Most of the time, if you just have enough computing power
to just run the decryptor.
Which may not be worth it for many things.
Yeah,
it may be some others.
But why does people data mine? The next, like, I'll be.
Why
like,
not?
question.
It sounds fun.
It just says it sounds fun.
You get to feel like a hacker.
Oof. Now you're amazing with the best style, like the rest. They say. You feel like you will have your own Angelina Jolie in the 90s. Yeah.
Not really.
Come on, you get the reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides feeling like a hacker and cool, is because you can get a lot of information early of later stages of the game. In this case, if it's a competitive game, you can get an age seeing like future changes to the same code and prepare for it. In terms of open RPGs and MMO, you can see secrets and stuff that is valuable, and you can target them directly. So you can like see like a precognition of what you have to prepare for being successful in the game. That's the other reason why. Data mining.
I don't think the people that have the skills to data mine things care about that.
What?
I feel like people that do it because it's fun.
Really? That's what you.
Yep. It's a lot of effort and a lot of time.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Like we're just talking about game.
Yeah. Can you actually like sell that information? Like, does the data miners have a monitoring information like things?
I mean, you could try, but it's probably a bad idea because you will get in trouble with the company.
Oh, okay. So you say that it's just because it's fun. That's your thing.
There's probably legal protection for that kind of stuff. Like cannot make, like, if you make money out of that, it's probably there are probably legal protections against that, and you don't want a team of lawyers on your ass for data mining stuff in League of Legends.
Fair.
So they could sell the information. I don't think it's worth the trouble that you could get in.
Yeah.
So the people that do it, they'll probably do it for the fun of doing it and because they're part of the community.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, that's the internet for you. Yeah. If there's no monetary incentive, fun is probably the next thing. There's probably not enough monetary incentive for all the trouble that you will get into for doing it. Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. There's like community of data miners, like actually. Yeah. Like when you get like results from like spoilers, is a community publication, something like that. I've never seen like a data miner like credit himself with stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to deal with the legal repercussions of that.
Yeah, of exploiting codes or like decrypting code that should be illegal to decrypt it, that sort of stuff. Yeah. You're right.
It probably is, and there's probably a lot of legal protection around that.
It is.
And why wouldn't there be? Because that's the livelihood for the company.
Yeah. I like it. Well, you're right. You're right.
And people do find these things enjoyable, like hacking into stuff.
Yeah.
Not for malicious purposes, but just
to know.
It's fun.
Yeah, to know the
it's
things.
Fun. Messing around with code and computers, it's very fun. A lot of people do enjoy it.
That is true. That is actually true. So yeah, that's why probably they data mine stuff to get you spoiled and have fun doing it.
It's fun. People have fun doing it.
Yeah. I've seen for example, I've seen a lot of.
It's also fun because of the challenge.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of people who are into this kind of hacking kind of things.
Yeah.
They do it for the challenge of doing it.
Yeah, to see
and
if they
being
can
able to say, I did it and I got thing and I found the thing.
Yeah.
It's challenging. It's a game.
Yeah. For example, I see a lot of like data mining and spoiler in the Destiny community because they allow third service APIs to work with their code.
Yeah.
So they kind of make it easy for them because they kind of have that vulnerability, like on purpose, of course, because they allow the community to build their own API code and applications for inventory management in the game. So Destiny makes it easy for you to data mining.
It's not that makes it easy, it's that it's not worth fighting it for Bungie.
Yeah. And that's
it's the same. It's the same thing for MMOs, like with Warcraft or Final Fantasy or whatever, or Guild of Wars. If they offer the tools for people to build APIs, they like the companies know that there is a risk.
Yeah.
And they just value that risk that is worth taking.
So, and that segues perfectly into the next question: is like, can data mining be fixed with encryption, or is it worth to fight?
Probably not.
Is it worth to fight it to keep your secrets and to keep your not spoiling people?
Probably not. Like if you wanna have strong encryption, that's expensive.
You're right. Like if you want to encrypt every single piece of your software, it's expensive and can generate problems. Like not only is expensive in the way of making encrypting is expensive, but working with a highly encrypted piece of software, it can generate problems too.
It can generate problems, but that can be dealt with. It's just that the best encryption techniques are all owned by someone.
Okay.
It's just like, think about it, like anyone can encrypt anything because you just
need a key. You just make a key and the key you just pass it through your file.
But pretty much anything that a single person can do is easy to break for like an experienced data miner.
All right. So
the best encryption techniques are usually patented. Like they just people make money out of that.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a strong encryption, you probably have to buy the service from the people who own the best encryption techniques.
So
because there's a lot of money to be made out of encryption. It's a very profitable.
Data protection and that sort of stuff is very profitable market. That is true. Yeah.
So, is it worth even the monetary cost? Probably not. And if they were to do it themselves, probably not worth the time or even the money of hiring an expert
and putting the work into encrypting every single piece of your.
Yeah, it's probably too much work, too much hassle.
Not worth it.
They can do with the medium level that they probably do. That it's perfectly fine. Like most people won't break to it.
Yeah.
So it's probably fine.
So it's not. You say that it's not worth it.
I don't think.
If it was, like, if you actually want to say, like, I don't want anybody to data mine my game, it would be like too expensive to be actual work.
I would imagine so. Otherwise, they will do it.
Otherwise, they will do it. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Otherwise, all these companies will absolutely 100% encrypt everything. Yeah.
But they don't.
They don't.
And it's not like all companies. Like EA doesn't do it. So.
Yeah. What about misdirection? Like I've seen some companies do this, like put fake ends, or they know they're gonna data mine their game, so they put
I mean, if
placeholders and that sort of stuff, or like fake images and that sort of stuff inside.
If you have the spare muscle to do it,
yeah.
Sure.
And I think like based on what we discussed here about data mining and the technology and the money problems, I think that this will be like the best solution. Create a little bit of misdirection, right?
It's probably true, but that will probably backfire because, like lying to someone would work a couple of times before people know what you're doing.
So you're saying like the players will cut up eventually that you are.
And then they will know. Then they will know. Okay, that looks fishy. Then there's probably something.
So there's so much that you can go with misdirection to avoid data mining. So there's so much it will take. It will go so far. All right. I think
because even giving fake information is a still information.
All right. I see where you're going.
If you put a fake image here, then people know. Oh, then they are hiding something there.
All right. I see. Difficult.
So, in principle, the most effective way of using deception is to mix truth at a random pace.
All right. So half and half, just like this. Look.
Not even half and half, but like at some random mix of truth and fake, because then people will never know like if this is true or this is not, and some of them may be and some of them may not. Then so everything is just thrown in this array.
All right. So that will be like kind of the solution, like. Misdirection, half and half misdirection, but like not completely.
It's still an imperfect solution.
Yeah, of course.
Is it worth doing all that for just a marginal improvement? That's what you have to value.
Yeah, it depends. Like if you, I imagine like if you are like, I don't know, to put an example, like bringing out a big patch or like a next expansion or something like that, and you're preloading stuff onto the thing, so your big expansion will be ready for launch and everything else. Probably you will want to misdirect on your bigger plot twist of the end of the expansion or something like that, or protect it a little bit more with it, like extra encryption or something like that. Probably those are the cases where it's worth it, right?
Yeah, you have to choose your battle. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah. But for the rest, and I don't know, gaming community and data miners by this point are very clever, and and I feel that it's becoming harder and harder for developers to do this. to actually hide stuff. To actually hide stuff. But I feel that my word for the developer is like sometimes worth it. Keep the good fight. There's some places that you have to fight against the spoiler bots.
My position is just pick your fight. It's not worth.
Fair enough.
There are more people data mining stuff than people encrypting.
Yeah. But
there are more people who want to find the secret than the ones that want to hide it.
That is true. But well, you as a player have to be aware of this now in 2021, and you have to be aware of the spoilers. And that's the other part of the thing. Like nobody wants to be spoiled, but that's your choice.
And that's my position. Like nowadays, this is kind of unavoidable.
Yeah.
So if you as the player really care, it's sadly it's on your hands if you want to spoil yourself or not.
Yeah. For example, I was like beta testing the New World game, and I decided to stop. All these other people went like to level 60 and see all the dungeons and all that sort of stuff. I decided to stop because I was actually having a good time, and I was like, I'm gonna stop here and not spoil myself for the launch, and not see anything to be surprised when I get. I've heard one of the two things about the dungeons and that sort of stuff, but and that's fair.
It's fair. It's also not a black or white kind of scenario.
Yeah, it's not.
You can decide. You can stay in either side. Like I don't care about any
spoilers or whatever.
I'm gonna keep myself from any spoilers or anywhere in the middle. Like you can pick and choose the things that you care or not about spoiling. So.
Yeah, that is true. And then the next question is like, what effect has been having on games now that data mining is so prevalent? Like especially for like future storytelling and content and that sort of stuff.
I mean, for storytelling, that's very. It can have a very detrimental effect because.
I agree.
I mean, big part of a successful story is having that plot twist.
Yeah, that surprise.
and
yeah,
that's completely undermined by
data mining.
that could be completely undermined by a well-placed spoiler.
Yeah.
So it's I mean that makes that experience worse.
Yeah.
For sure. Like I feel like that's the easier example, or storytelling is the easier place where to say, yeah, data mining may not be that good.
Yeah.
For content itself, it's kind of more a gray area for, because it's, for example, what you said, like with New World, like you could have spoiled yourself and go and know what all the dungeons look like and what all the mechanics and things do in the dungeon are.
Yeah.
And if you're okay with that, fine, go ahead, go nuts.
Yeah.
If because then that means that your enjoyment is not derived from the exploration.
Correct.
But if you're the type of player for whom exploration is the main
it's part of the enjoyment of your
part
experience.
of enjoyment, then done.
Yeah.
And like if it sounds like I'm shifting, like I'm shifting the blame to a player, but it's that if you know that that's what you enjoy, you kind of have to protect yourself. It's a Game of Thrones kind of thing. Like you don't get to watch the episode on premiere night. You have to avoid the internet.
Yes. Yeah.
I know the same thing.
You have to do something similar in games now. Yeah. I know what you're right. Yeah, and it's possible, people. It's possible to avoid the spoilers.
It is possible. You just have to. No, you just have to be kind of self-aware, or how do you enjoy this experience?
Yeah.
Or which parts are meaningful to you, so that you can proactively avoid. Because I don't think these spoilers are going anywhere. Like just.
Fortunately for us as gamers and players and watchers of content, a lot of the media has been very aware of that. So they always give you warning, like spoiler content here or spoiler content there, or like we're gonna discuss a spoiler.
People that share this stuff, yes.
Yeah.
But if you go to primary sources, then they don't, because that's the whole point.
Because that's the whole point, of course. If you go into a data mining site, they're not going to warn you about it.
And,
part of the communities of data mining. Yeah, of course.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah. I feel like for storytelling, of course, is awful. But again, as my example before, you should fight for your big twist in as much as you can to protect from it.
You should.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the Game of Thrones thing. It's just.
Yeah. But the other thing is
especially.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, especially because in game, the player who's like the passive agent.
Yeah.
Have more agency at which pace do we consume the content.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Which means that there is really very little that what the developer can do to protect everyone's experience.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
it's the Warframe thing. It's the Warframe. It's like the spoilers are protected by the community.
Yes.
At large.
Yeah.
That he is doing. Just,
yeah. It's not something.
So that's kind of what I mean, and especially for video games. Even if it is a new video game, comes right now, you play it on launch, you're still probably play it at your own pace.
Yeah.
Some people may speedrun it and just start talking about it, and you might get spoiled, but some other people will take it slower and take the ride at a different pace.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's very hard, like for the developer, even in that pace, for example.
Yeah. But you can still take the approach of, if storytelling is the main thing that you are selling, you just don't do public testing. And as my example of God of War and Last of Us and the other heavily storytelling games, that you try to do as much close testing as you can, or just pump everybody full of NDAs. That's the best you can do, I feel. right? In the day and age of data mining. Is there some positive of data mining in the games today? I will say that clearly review content can be beneficial in terms of data mining.
I mean, to like for production cycles, is them beneficial. Yeah. And it, like it or not, it generates a lot of marketing.
Yes.
So that's good. Like
that is good. yeah. And of course for like age gamers and people that looking for ages in video games, it's very beneficial to know how the system work or are gonna work in certain platforms and that sort of stuff. I think those are other positives. But yeah, for production is very good to actually
for content production around the game. Yeah,
it's very good. Nothing is black and white. Data mining is difficult.
Nothing in life is black and white. Most issues in life are very complicated and very gray.
Can we go back to an era with no spoilers at all?
No. That's the internet for you. I don't think so.
You say absolutely not. There is no way to go back. Even if we find like the cheapest encryption, unbreakable encryption technology.
Not even that, but just because. So, for example, I haven't played the Mass Effect game, all of them.
All right, yeah.
And big part of that is the story and the RPG and that stuff.
And the choices that you make and that sort of stuff,
Sure. But all that, for example, I could have spoiled all of that. And no one would blame me now because it's been out for a while.
Yeah, it's an old trilogy.
So I cannot say, oh, damn, those spoilers. And even for new games, like as soon as they are out, it's just out there. It is, in my opinion, it's walk at your own discretion.
Do you miss the no spoiler standard? Like going into, like, for example, like, and reminiscing here, like going to a Blockbuster store, Mall, and like renting a game, an N64 game or a Super Nintendo game, so just pop it in and discover everything from zero.
I don't really miss that. But what you're saying is, do I want to go to a time before the internet? No.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
The answer is no, definitely not.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like it. Do you want to go to a time before? Well, the only spoiler that you get will be from magazines.
Yeah, but even those took like a week or a couple of weeks to
actually come out. All right.
To actually come out.
So it's just
that the internet is instant. Like everything is there, whatever you want, it's there at the tip of your finger. That's what the internet
is. Is there any game that's been ruined for you for data mining?
Not that I care, because if I care, I'm careful.
Okay, yeah.
And if I don't care, then I just don't care. And then the experience won't be ruined for me. But for example, it's just how we approach games. Like I enjoy exploring games more than you.
All right.
So just, for example, you're more prone to go and look for guides and stuff, and so you're very prone to spoil yourself.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't do that the first time that I'm playing a game. Like usually when I pick up a game, I just go to a game and I just see what's up by myself. Once I have made a decision, like about, I like this, then then that's the point when I will go out and look for information.
Yeah.
So it's very rare for me to spoil myself because of the way that I approach game.
All right. Yeah. So
That's
you're
all.
trying to say that's my fault that I sometimes spoil games for myself.
Yes, it is your fault. But you know that, like, you know it because
Yeah.
you know that you're very impatient.
Yeah. I know that I approach games like from a very, I want to be very optimal when I play games, so I try to go and look for information even if I don't need it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you end up spoiling yourself.
Yeah, that is
The,
true.
the only thing that also is you lose the right to complain about it.
But I'm not complaining about it.
I'm not saying that you are. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that you just have to be aware that that's how you do it. So
Yeah, you're right. And it's funny that you say that because I haven't. I've been. You know, you bring that calculation of it's just like I'm not like that with all the games. Like I've been playing God of War, and I've been like not inclined to even look at spoilers or guides or anything like that.
but because you know that that's what you care about in that game.
Yeah, I know that what I care about that game is the story. So
You are being careful about it.
yeah, you're right. Absolutely
But
right.
that's not your instinct.
Yeah. So do we as gamers need to be like now in 2021 super aware and super intelligent about where we're going because data mining is a very real hazard of the internet information.
In my opinion, it's more about being self-aware. It's a question about self-awareness. Like, you just need to, and that's kind of a hard thing to ask because you cannot ask a teenager to be self-aware.
Yes.
But for example, you and I were old enough that we know how we approach games.
Yeah.
Or many things in life. So I can ask people like us, you just have to know what you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Proceed with caution on the
Proceed
internet.
with caution, yeah.
Is it fair for me to ask that of a young kid that just growing up with the internet under its fingers? It may not be fair. It may be too much to ask, but
Poor kid.
but it's just that's sadly the world that the internet is not going anywhere. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that is true. Is there any way that developers can benefit from heavy data mining on their games? I wonder.
I mean, it definitely benefits the marketing of the game. It can generate a lot of word of mouth, which is the best type of advertising is word of mouth, especially on the internet age or
in these days. Yeah.
Reviews and content creation around the product is the best type of marketing. That's very beneficial.
The other thing that I like about data mining is that it kind of forces the developer to be a little bit more transparent about their game.
It definitely can take the role of keeping the quality or keeping checks and balances on the product.
Yeah, we have seen cases of the developer says that this work like this, but in reality, it doesn't work like it.
Absolutely, that's definitely one of the benefits that we or people that care can call out the bullshit that developers say, because they do say a lot of bullshit.
Yeah,
sometimes.
they do. Yeah, they did. That's what I think. That's one of the big benefits, at least for the player, is they have kind of this knowledge of not eating bullshit from the developer when they promise certain things. So they say the system works like this and blah blah blah.
It is one of those scenarios where symmetry of information is beneficial for all parties, and data mining is something that enhances that symmetry of information.
was one more question I was gonna say about this. Talking about like deployment of content to prevent data mining in some way, shape, or form for spoiling your stuff, like especially in these days where there is a lot of pre-patching. Is there is the best practice just pre-patch as soon as close to launch to possible to prevent data mining of that in those cases?
It could. I mean, that's like if you care about data mining, yes. The problem is that doing it too close to release, that defeats the purpose of pre-patch. Because from a technical point of view, the main role that pre-patch takes is like preloading. It's one preloading the information so that people can play on release, without having to download gigabytes of data. And second, it's you can preload a lot of the changes and stuff so that if any problem arises on the live server, you will know it quickly.
Before. Yeah. That's the other
thing. So if you do it too soon to release, you are shortening that window, which kind of defeats that purpose.
Yeah, and as a developer, that's too much of an advantage to not take.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's probably more beneficial to have everything go okay on launch.
Yeah.
Because everyone is gonna be looking at you during launch, not during
pre-patch. Because first impressions, they're just one time happen.
Yep.
So man, it's hard, but I think overall, I feel like data mining brings a lot more benefits than detriments.
I do believe too.
Right?
Yeah.
It makes the developers forced to be more transparent. It gives them more tools to fix stuff. And the price is that you have to be careful.
The price is right.
The price is right.
No, but it is the price that we have to pay for that.
So yeah, it's a price.
It is a more nuanced, like the whole data mining. It's a more nuanced topic than what it seems.
Yeah. It feels. I feel like the conception of this of data mining is like, oh no, it's bad because you are checking out what you're not supposed to check out, and that's stuff. I feel like that's the general view about data mining. It's like, oh no, it's bad because you're spoiling things and seeing things that you should not see.
I agree that is the general conception or preconception that people have of data mining. But
yeah, but I think the benefits are outweighs the.
It has its benefits. It has its drawbacks, and you have to weigh those and see which side of the fence do you sit.
And remember, that's our opinion. If you don't like data mining, if you strongly disagree with us, or if you can give us, of course, there's like outside of gaming, there's like bad things about data mining, like leaking private information and that sort of stuff, right? That's the other side of the coin. We are just talking inside the gaming.
We are talking inside the gaming industry. We're also talking about a very specific type of data mining.
Yeah, correct.
Because like it or not, data mining is a form of hacking.
Correct.
And a lot of these games deal with like sensitive information. Like usually you have your own personal information or credit cards or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Bounded to all these accounts, and those are vulnerability points for identity theft and stuff like that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. It's good that we clarify that we're talking about like a very
we're
specific type of data mining.
Yeah. And to be fair, like when developers or companies are dealing with like personal information, they are very like that's information that is highly encrypted, and it's usually not part of the game.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of those things are handled like on web services. They're like
Yep.
highly encrypted, like
or separate kind of services outside the actual
Yep.
data of the game. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's bad.
It is bad.
Yeah, hacking is bad. Yeah. In that form, hacking is bad.
Yeah, it's
So yeah, we have to clarify that then, because we at the end of all this we kind of have like a positive outtake of data mining inside video games. So we don't wanna.
I mean, that's more than fair.
Yeah. So we don't wanna. We don't wanna give the wrong impression.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we're just like, hackers.
Hackers were cool in 90s movies.
What?
Hackers were cool in 90s movies.
Yeah. Hack the world. Anyways. So, in conclusion, for this topic, data mining inside video games have its benefits, and we think that it has more benefits than detriments. Some people don't like it because of you get spoiled or other types of things, but the benefits of having a transparency with force the developers to be more transparent about the system inside the games, giving them more data and time to test their games to make it better, and having better information about the systems that you manipulate inside the game. All that is good. And the spoiler thing and the problems of spoiling games and information games can be avoided by the player, but that the developers are aware of possible leaks on personal information is dangerous, and they should be always aware of it. So they cannot like 100% go out and say like, oh yeah, data mining is great.
Yep.
Yeah, but inside this very specific context, we have some benefits from it. All right, and that's it for our deep dive. Do you have anything else to add?
No,
Topic?
it was a very good conclusion.
Cool. All right, and now we move to our audience questions and feedback. Remember, if you want to contact us or send in your burning questions in any way, shape, or form, you can write us down in the comments below if you're watching us on YouTube or hearing us on YouTube. You don't have to necessarily watch us. Or you can contact us in any of our myriad of social media platforms: Twitter, WhatsApp, email, smoke signals, any shape, way, or form that you want to communicate with us. So the first question of this week is, why the lack of content recently?
Why the lack of content? That's a good question.
I don't know. I think we're like unconsciously taking a little bit of a break. I think that's the reason.
I mean, I'd be busy.
Yeah, you were super busy. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know on your side.
Yeah, I was like, I'm starting to train, so that was dragging my energy all around the week. So, and I had to do different stuff. I had like a busy week doing stuff in real life. I think that distracted me. So I got like vaccinated and started like an exercise regime, and I have some medical exams to attend in these couple of weeks. So all of that kind of disrupt our general rhythm of content creation. You can put it somewhere like that.
Fair enough.
So that's more of the reasons. And of course, Lucho he's always more busy than me. So there you go.
I'm always hiding.
Yeah. He's always hiding. So that's maybe the reason. Real life sometimes gets in the way. There's no two ways about it.
Sometimes it does get in the way, that's for sure.
And our second question of the week is, what was your favorite thing about the TennoCon reveal?
Favorite thing?
Yeah, the one favorite thing about the TennoCon reveal.
I mean, they didn't reveal much. It was basically a reveal of that quest preview.
Yeah.
Which I think was like the fact that we were controlling all these different NPCs was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me the favorite thing is like they were actually gonna do a big ass storytelling quest.
Sure. No. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That's. I think I was more impressed by the approach that they're taking this time. I find it very
the style of gameplay and the changes in the pace and all, and like showing us different factions, like actually putting us into the shoes of the factions that we've been killing for 7 years.
I find that I was more surprised by that than the actual. Yeah, we're doing a quest.
Yeah, with big lore and that sort of stuff. But for me,
no, that's completely fair.
I love all the big lore quest of Warframe. It's one of my favorite things in the game. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, seeing more of that has been my delight.
Absolutely, I do agree with you.
That was my favorite thing about TennoCon reveal, and I think that is all, my friend.
That's all for this week's episode. Once again, thanks for tuning in into The Sweaty, the Farmer, and the Game Design. My name is Lucho, and you can find me on Twitter @LuzGPolanco.
And I am the London Gamer. You can find me on Twitter @the London Gamer and on Twitch at twitch.tv/London Gamer, where I will stream. Don't worry about it. I will. I have a purpose to stream the New War launch. So there you go. You can look forward to that. And you want to know when I'm going live and do all that, follow me on your social media to know exactly when I'm going live and all that sort of stuff. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, do anything social that helps us with this show. And thank you very much for coming to The Sweaty, the Farmer, and the Game Design. See you next time.
Bye.
And did you know soybeans also find their way into candles for some reason? Cleaning products and haircare products. So you can be shampooing yourself with soybean. Maybe you can take some soy sauce and like put in your shampoo and it smell like...
I don't think that's how it works, but I'm not surprised.
And it smell like cheap sushi all day, if that's what you want.
I don't think that's what that means, but it's not surprising.
All right. The soybean is the highest natural source of dietary fiber. So if you're missing fiber, eat some tofu, I guess.
Eat some beans. Beans are good for fiber.
Beans. Yeah.
I mean, soybeans are beans.
Soybeans are beans, yes. And more soybeans are grown in the United States than anywhere else in the world. And I thought that they were like primarily Asian product all this time.
Nope.
Everything is a lie. We live in a Matrix simulated reality. Nothing is true.
And the soybean has been around for centuries. According to the Iowa State University Department of Agronomy, the first users and domesticators of the soybean were believed to be Chinese in the northeast part of the country, sometime around the 11th century.
So they actually brought this soybean technology.
It's probably native to like Asia.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the largest grower is
I always thought, like, of course, soy sauce, Chinese people. Maybe I'm racist.
Maybe we're racist. That's a very racist comment.
Maybe I live off of cliches. You assume the world works like that.
Yeah.